Mr. Tim, VK3FTJS.
VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD.
Aussie Joe, I said, how are you, Mr. Tim?
Sorry, what was that?
I said, how are you tonight, Mr. Tim?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, not too bad. Got the hire car today, so that's all fun and games. Now I can get out and about without taking the family car. Means I can go to work and whatnot without having to catch the V line as well. So fun. Other than that, yeah, pretty good. Can't complain, you know. How are you anyway? How's your week been?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just having a bit of an issue here with setting everything up. Yeah, I'm just looking at how my devices should be set. And it's very interesting. Can you just send for a sec? I just want to see if I'm still receiving. Yeah, just hang tight for 2 seconds because I've got to reload up the application, or got to load up the application. Due to my computer rebooting, of course, I don't have anything open. Come on, move across to there. Still running an old image. Put you there. Okay, I can send through a test image when you're ready there, Terry. Okay, yeah, I just want to see if this thing's starting to receive. Can you just send us something quick? Yeah, too easy. This is VK3FTZD with the level test for the EasyPal net when it's on in about 2 minutes. Not a problem. 16 dB, 16 and 19 dB, so yeah, that was alright. And 12 dB down in Frankston. Yeah, g'day there, Stan. Awesome as. Alright, so it's just hit 9 o'clock, so I'll do the announcements. My spreadsheet's just opened up as well. This computer's starting to need a reinstall of Windows, I think, very soon. Okay. My name is Tim, this is VK3FTZD, and this is the EasyPal net. We meet on this repeater every 9 PM at 9 PM every Thursday evening on the VK3AML repeater. The EasyPal net is a nice little place where we can get up and chat away about images and transmit and receive images that we have collected during the week or in our lifetime. It can be anything as long as they've got a short story to them. The EasyPal software is a free download. Anyone can download it and use it to decode any of the images either via RF or later in the week you'll get the recorded from YouTube, thanks to VK3AML for providing this extra service. My name is Tim, VK3FTZD, and I will be conducting the net tonight. Do we have any check-ins for the net? VK3FTJS. VK3 Bravo Oscar Tango opening up a packet of Gibson Orange Dark Chocolate Tim Tams and munching.
VK3AML, I believe FMLD's there too.
Correct. Ruben.
And we've also got VK3WWB, who is decoding only. VK3, not VW3, VK3WWB. I've got that as listening only on my spreadsheet. Awesome as. Okay, Terry, you're on the first of the ranks. How was your week? And when you're ready, transmit an image.
Yeah, it's a very quiet week. Yeah, and just trying to keep away from this coronavirus and all that business. And yeah, nothing too special. But yeah, all right. I'll put through the picture. Here we go with the first one. Hopefully it comes through.
Yeah, VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD. Yeah, I got that at 16 dB here. Very nice. Don't believe my signal or SNR's that great because of my antenna location, but we'll see what everybody else is sitting at. VK3BOT, Stan, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
Well, actually, I thought it was very good. 17 dB over here, very, very good indeed. Yeah, no complaints at all. And I think that I think the tag says it all. Yeah, nothing more needs to be said of that. Some bright spark put it there. Yeah, back to you. VK3BOT said that.
Chris, VK3AML, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
Yeah, superb. I think if I was a cyclist, I would have taken a hammer to that. 24 dB, very, very good. You're obviously spot on with your levels, Terry. So I wouldn't move it. Back to you, Tim. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Nicely done. And Chris, VK3FMLD, how did you go with that one?
All good. That's my best signal for the night. 18 dB and full decode.
Excellent. And Brendan didn't get a lock on that one, unfortunately. He's still playing around with some settings. Apparently he's using a new setup, untested, and very raw. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, we've got Stan, you're up. VK3BOT. How was your week, and when you're ready, transmit an image?
Well, I guess my week was like most people's weeks. Some bits of it were good, some bits of it were bad. But, yeah, very, very, very interesting. I must admit, that last signal report for Terry, that's up there with the best of mine, because I don't give signal reports that high. Mine are normally lower than that. At any rate, at the drop of the repeater, my first picture will be sent. VK3BOT said that.
VK3BOT, VK3FTZD, and the EasyPal net. For some reason, that's only 3 dB on mine, and it's saying 8 segments remaining. Got it on progressive, and all the text seemed to decode. There's just like a little section in the corner that didn't quite decode. Yes. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving Stan's image?
Yep, 15 dB, mate, all good, all is well. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, too easy. VK3AML, how did you go with that one, Chris?
19 dB. Yeah, with my advancing age, I appreciate the association between running water and bathrooms becomes increasing with age. Back to you.
That is true. Yes. Chris, VK3FMLD, how did you go with that one?
Very interesting and appropriate. Yes, I agree with Chris on his comments there, and it's interesting that I should have sent this because when I was involved with Scouts, my Scout name was Moses. What did we get? Is that 6 dB or 8 dB? 6 dB here in Lilydale, full decode.
Excellent, and I haven't got a report yet from Brendan, so I'm guessing he's still fiddling with his settings and didn't quite get a decode on that. Why don't you do a quick check to see if there were any more check-ins before we continue on to Chris AML. So are there any more check-ins for the EasyPal net? Nothing heard, and Brendan's confirmed that he was still fiddling with settings and didn't get a lock or a decode on that one. VK3AML, Chris, you're up for an image, and how was your week as well?
Well, it was very good, and a bit of something to announce with relation to this net. I got a phone call through the week from Michael, the new president of EMDRC as of last Friday, and he's invited me to give a lecture on EasyPal at the EMDRC sometime around August. So I'll be collecting pictures and trying different types of material being transmitted, animated GIFs, Microsoft Word documents, text. Let's see how far we can take this thing. And I think what I'll do is to assemble the images with a narration as a 1080 video, present that on the night, and perhaps if we could organise one of the members of the group to be home, I could probably receive some pictures in at the club rooms and put them up on their video projector. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll forward to my first photo of the night, which was taken in Auckland about 2 years ago. VK3AML with an EasyPal pick at the drop of the repeater. It is my turn, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, QSL, that's why I handed it over to you. And that's really good news about the EMDRC club and wanting to have you talk about it. That's excellent. The more the merrier, I reckon. Over to you there, Chris. VK3AML, VK3FTZD.
Okay, an EasyPal pick on the drop of the repeater. And we're on mode A. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD. I got that at 17 dB and full decode. It's a very nice old crystal set. Very, very nice. Classic. Even I've built a crystal set. That was many, many moons ago and first learned how that you don't use iron for your the inside of your coil or your former for the coil. Terry, VK3FTJS, how did you go decoding Chris's image?
Yeah, 21 dB, spot on. Yeah, nice. Very nice. Yeah, very nice. And Meccano, eh? Didn't know they produced this sort of stuff, or is it a different company?
I didn't know that they were involved with radio either, and it was only when I went to the Museum of Transport and Technology at Auckland and saw this thing that I realised that they'd been in right at the start of the BBC, but only very briefly apparently. Funny thing about New Zealand, it tends to be a place where old equipment goes to die. It's kind of the end of the line, so there's some interesting stuff survives over there. Back to you, Terry.
Most definitely, and yeah, no, it was a good receive on that, 21 dB, clear as. Not a problem, put it back to 10.
Yeah, no worries. VK3BOT, Stan, how did you go receiving that one?
Yeah, Mode A. Mode A with 2.4. Aerofix high. Quam 64. Very good indeed. 133, 133, 133 OK segments. And 17 dB. So whatever was causing the hiccups with this thing a few weeks ago, Chris, when we couldn't get Mode A, I don't know. It seems to have sorted itself out actually. Maybe it's because I've got the cover off of it. If I put the cover back on, maybe it'll start playing up again. Hope not, because it's perfect for what we do here. Yeah, back to you, Tim. VK3 FTZD, VK3 BOT. Good picture.
Yeah, very nice. Chris, VK3FMLD, how did you go decoding Chris's image?
TZD VK3FMLD, yeah, no problem, 7 dB, full decode, and prompted me to go and have a look on the internet. If anybody's interested, www.nzmeccano.com, and there's some documentation about their crystal radios. 55 shillings. That was a lot of money in 1922. VK3 FTZD, VK3AML, FMLD.
Yeah, very nice. I might have to check that out later on. I've got that written down here. And VK3WWB is still having some issues with his decoding. It's all right. We'll work it out. Yeah, did you want to have a bit more to say about that one, Chris?
Not a great deal, except if you're ever in Auckland, go to the Museum of Transport Technology. It's called MOTAT. It's on the western side of Auckland. Well worth a visit. It's probably one of the best collections of transport equipment, including a Melbourne tram, which has a St Kilda Beach destination sign on it. And I looked at it when I was with 7MJ, Mike Roth, that trip. You know, hop on the tram and go 2,000 miles. VK3 FTZD, VK3AML.
It's a very long tram ride. I wonder if it goes underwater too, and the tram's watertight. Dear. VK3 FMLD, how was your week, and do you have an image ready to go?
FTZD in the group, VK3 FMLD. Yeah, it's a good week. I had my 6-monthly appointment with the specialist and got the all clear for another few months. Go back and see him in October or something. Have some more blood tests, and at this stage, no sign of cancer, which is great. Yes, I have a picture ready to go, so at the drop of the repeater, I'll see if I've got my setup done right. It looks pretty good from here, but we'll see if I've, just because I pulled things out and changed it for the online version. Now, hopefully I've got it all back together the right way. So, here we go. Hopefully you're not getting so much background noise. This week I've got the door to the room shut and the television on the other side of the walls turned down a little bit.
VK3 FMLD, VK3 FTZD. That was coming through at 14 dB, but it just kept going in and out of lock. So I'm missing 27 segments and didn't get a decode on that. Terry, how did you go with that one? Did you get the same thing, or did you get a decode?
No, I was in and out of lock. Yeah, it was all over the shop. It was definitely all over the shop. Yeah, it was about 6 dB.
Yeah, okay. Did anybody get a decode on that one?
No, and it didn't sound right either. I can only go by what I hear by my ears. That did not sound right. We have 83 segments, 5 okay, and the rest are no darn good at all, and 5 dB.
I got 73 of 83, so I'm missing 10 segments.
Well, I have my settings exactly the same as last week. Maybe I dropped the level just a fraction and resend.
I think that'd be good. What about you, Terry?
I think he needs to bring his level up a bit, or down. I did hear a bit of audio in the background when he first started. I don't know if that dropped it out or not.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't killed that microphone.
So, I've got to unplug the microphone after I transmit. So once I hit the switch on the black box, I've still got to unplug the microphone. Otherwise, it picks up all the noise in the room, and you'll hear me snoring and all that sort of stuff.
What do you reckon, Tim? Transmit again?
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. We'd transmit again and maybe drop the levels just a little bit. It was almost there. It just seemed to be going in and out of lock. I turned my gain up and it sort of locked a little bit more, but then same thing, it was not enough to decode. So I think maybe turn the levels down just a fraction. Failing that, turn them up that little bit more.
I've dropped the audio out from 20 to 17, so we'll see what happens. At the drop of the repeater, we'll try this, and I'll unplug the microphone before I hit transmit.
It's still too peaky, Chris. Bring it down a bit.
Okay, how do we go with that one?
No cookies. Yeah, there's still one segment remaining.
It's all but one remaining segment, but I've only got 5 okay segments, and I didn't get a decode on that, but it locked the whole way through. I think EasyPal just didn't like it, that it couldn't recover from the last image. So unfortunately, I didn't get a lock on that. I didn't get a decode. I got a lock and everything, no decode. VK3FTJS, how did you go with that one, Terry?
Same, Tim. Yeah, I went the same. 5 segments only, through okay. Total of 83, position 82, and 1 segment still remaining at 9 dB.
I don't know what's going on there. Did anybody get a decode on that one from Chris?
Yep. Virtually as soon as he started transmitting, I got it. So whatever the remaining 10 segments were, they were early in the piece. Very, very funny, Chris. Obviously a marker with a sense of humour. But got you at 18 dB on the second run, so you improved by 4 dB by dropping your level. So I'd leave it there. No doubt next time round we'd get a decode by probably everybody. Back to Tim to hand around, VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, sorry, Chris, I doubled over you at the start of the transmission. I just was actually asking what you gave. VK3BOT, how did you go decoding Chris's image?
Well, it started out pretty ordinary, but it improved. I finished up with 8 dB here. 83 segments, 83 okay, position 83 okay segments. I've got one little wee red bit in the bar down the bottom, but I think it's damn good. They should have one of them for every tree. EK3BOT said that.
For those who didn't get a decode on that, Chris, VK3FMLD, did you want to explain a bit on this one?
VK3FT ZD VK3FMLD, yeah, no problems. It was a cartoon of some white lines. Hang on, I'll bring it back up on the PC. Drawn in the shape of a parking spot with a lapped over a footpath, or it might be American, so it might be a sidewalk, especially with the trees in the middle of it. And there was a fairly large tree right in the middle of the parking spot, and the text on the road in yellow is reserved for drunk drivers. VK3FTZD VK3FMLD.
Sounds pretty funny. I might have to go back through the previous recording or tonight's recording and decode that one so I can see it. It sounds pretty funny. Okay, continuing on. I'm next. This is VK3FTZD. My week hasn't been too bad. Been flat out working all week, recovering from the car accident and all that, and moving the majority of stuff over to the new place here in Calcallo, and it's now gotten to the point where I have to update my address on my license. So that's going to my amateur license. So that's going to be a simple process nowadays. But yeah, it's the next thing on the list to do, I guess. Other than that, yeah, the week's been pretty good. Flat out replacing UPSs at work. So all our sites have rack mount UPSs, so we've been upgrading them all, and yeah, done probably 40 of them this week. So yeah, fun. Back's a little bit sore. Good old lead acids. Okay, I'm going to transmit an image at the drop of the repeater. This is VK3FTZD and the EasyPal group. This antenna is actually the antenna I'm transmitting on. Very, very temporary. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving that one?
Yeah, 17 dB full decode. Oh, very nice, Tim. Does that go with a few other people's bodgies installs, or?
That is just a mag mount antenna, mounted upside down, and yeah, it works. VK3BOT, how did you go decoding that one?
Nothing wrong with that. As long as it works, who cares? Could be upside down, have a bend in it. As long as you're getting out, that's all that matters. Okay, 75, 75, 75, okay. And we have 12 dB and obviously a very full decode. Back to you, VK3. I need to get your call sign, VK3FTZD, VK3BOT. It's a good picture, as always.
Excellent. VK3AML, how did you go? Image.
No problem at all, Tim. 20 dB. And if you are getting out that well with that antenna, when you put an external antenna on that tin roof, you are going to thump into this repeater. Back to you.
Well, that's the plan, but unfortunately it's a tile roof, so I can't use the tin roof as a ground plane. But yeah, you know, the antenna up high, it should thump in pretty well. VK3FMLD, how did you go decoding my image?
3FTZD, VK3FMLD, yeah, 4 dB, full decode, and I've put that previous picture that I sent on the EasyPal chat on Facebook.
Excellent. Yeah, I got that just come through now.
Awesome. And Brendan is still having some PC issues. He's still not decoding, so he's just doing a reboot of his PC to see if that can resolve the issue. We might take a quick break to see if there are any more check-ins for the net, and then we'll continue back up from the top. So this is VK3FTZD and the EasyPal net. Do we have any more check-ins before we continue on? Yeah, no worries, nothing heard. VK3FTJS, you're up for an image when you're ready.
Okay, here we go.
VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD, that's a good one. 17 dB on this end. Stan, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
I'm still crying. Yeah, no, he's no worries at all. 17 dB over here, very good signal indeed. VK3BOT said that. We don't know whether we're hurting or not.
VK3AML, how did you go receiving that one, Chris?
I was laughing for quite a while. That is very good. I'll probably borrow that and shove it on my Facebook, Terry. We got that at 24 dB, just like the last one. You're doing very well with the sig to noise, Terry. Back to you, Tim. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I'm getting him the best as well. Well, actually, the last one I got 16 dB, so this one I got him at 17 dB, so he is doing well. I have got a... Brendan just got the tail of that one and just got a lock on the tail of it, so looks like promising for the next one there. Brendan, awesome stuff. VK3FMLD, how did you go getting a decode on Terry's image?
3FTZD, VK3FMLD, I'm offended. Full decode, 16 dB, yeah, very, very funny.
Excellent. Cool. Does that one have a story there, Terry? VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD?
Not really, but I think it's good to pass on if someone's having a go at you.
That's it. If someone finds you slightly offensive and whatnot, then yes. That's a nice one to send to them. Stan, you're up for an image. VK3BOT, VK3FTZD.
Well, I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to stick with the one funny right at the beginning, and then normal programming will resume. But I must admit, I do appreciate the ones that are put up, the humorous ones. I think they're actually quite good. Sometimes we need a good laugh. At any rate, at the drop of the repeater, VK3BOT will attempt to send... Oh, by the way, this time, the last image was mode A. This time I'm going mode B. According to my little cheat sheet down here, it should take 54 seconds, but whether it will or not is another matter. We'll find out, won't we? VK3BOT at the drop of the repeater is going to make a horrible noise.
Okay, 20 dB, full decode. Nice shack.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. So 20 dB for Terry. VK3AML, how did you go decoding Stan's image?
21 dB, no problem. I'd be curious to know where that is. Back to you, Tim.
No worries. VK3FMLD, how did you go decoding that one?
3FTZD, VK3FMLD. Oh, getting confused too. Yeah, no problems. 16 dB, and yeah, very interesting picture. I'd be very interested to hear the story of that one. VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD.
Yeah, cool. And VK3WWB, Brendan, he got that at 17 dB. He's got it up and running, and I got that one at 19 dB. So very nice there, Stan. Does that one have a story? VK3BOT, VK3FTZD.
That's one thing for certain, you fellas don't spend any time in the high country. This is actually one of my favourite parts of the world. I must admit, I do like the Victorian high country. I think it's a really, really wonderful place to go visit. I'd like to be able to get out there more. In fact, I wouldn't mind having that. That's Noonan's hut. It's a cattleman's hut. It's now a private hut you can go look at, but you cannot get inside. And it's out from Mansfield, around the back of Mount Buller, around by the Howcrow Hills areas, and there was lots and lots of cattlemen's huts out there. This is one of them. I've got a few more to go, but this is one of a series that I took the pictures. I can't remember when I took this picture. It might have been even with my boy when we were out there the last time we were out at when we were out there, because we actually went out camping together, just Tim and myself, and we went for some fairly long walks while we were there, and around these huts was one of the areas whereabouts we went. At any rate, that's one of them. And it's around from Sheepyard Flats. So you go to Mansfield, and then you hang a right, and you don't go up to Mount Buller, but you go around to Sheepyard Flats, and then from Sheepyard Flats you waddle your way around to the rest of it. VK3BOT said that.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm not a Melbourne local, so I haven't explored a lot of high-end Victoria or top-end Victoria areas. I'm a Tasmanian. Unfortunately, I'll get there, and there's a lot of places like that to explore. Okay, VK3AML, you're up for an image when you're ready.
Okay, Tim, this was taken quite a few years ago, and it's of Don Bainbridge, VK3BIG. I might have to increase the transmission time to about 90 seconds to make this. Yeah, okay. This is in my old shack at Surrey Hills, which was a lot more cramped than the present one, which is saying something. It was a bigger house, but I had less of it. VK3AML with an EasyPal pic of Don Bainbridge with his crystal set. Fairly complicated one. On the drop of the repeater.
full DK 22 dB.
Full decode 17 dB, VK3BOT.
Good. Oh, I dropped the level by about 3 dB that time. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD. I got that at 16 dB. Very nice and a very fun-looking radio. VK3FMLD, how did you go with that one, Chris?
Yeah, very interesting piece of gear, that. Yeah, you got to watch out for the microvolts. Full decode 11 dB. Very nice.
Ah, excellent. And VK3WWB received that one at 15 dB. Very nice. Does that have any more story to it there, Chris? I see it's got a transformer sitting in there. VK3AML, VK3FTZD.
Yeah, one was the antenna loading coil and the other one was the parallel tuned circuit feeding the crystal diode and then into the headphones. He brought that round. Don lives in Geelong, but he has his shack at Gordon, just outside Ballarat, on the Boland side of Ballarat. And he was curious to see what my antenna back at the old place could do. I had a very extensive earth mat there, and an antenna that ran, horizontal part ran diagonally between two very high trees at the apexes of the diametrically opposed corners of the property, and I had an inverted L running into the middle of that end-loading T section, so it worked very well for broadcast band DX on crystal sets. So he was testing that. I think that was done during one of our Christmas barbecues or something. He nicked into the room and said, "Can I give your antenna a try?" So that was the result of that. That's all there is to it. Back to you, VK3 FTZD, VK3AML.
Too easy. Very nice. Yeah, I can see that being something I would do. VK3FMLD, you're up for an image if you have one ready.
Very good. At the drop of the repeater, VK3FMLD will transmit a picture on EasyPal, and I'll remember to pull the microphone out before I actually start sending the picture this time. See how we went with it.
Yeah, VK3FMLD, VK3FTZD. I got that one at 19 dB here. Very nice. Terry, how did you go? VK3FTJS.
Yeah, 15 dB full decode. Yeah, you're a bit young in head there, Chris.
Would be this time instead of mode A.
Was you a biking for one?
VK3BOT. Stan, how did you go receiving that one? Oh, apparently sent on mode B, which is what I've got here.
Did you want to answer the question, Chris?
I didn't hear it, Terry.
How long were you a bikie was the question.
I was then.
His blasted feet don't touch the pedal. Never mind, not to worry. Okay, he was 12 dB over here at VK3BOT.
Yeah, no worries. VK3AML, how did you go receiving Chris's image?
Well, I'm very glad to say, Chris, you've obviously got the levels spot on now, because I got that at 22 dB. You've never been above 20 before, so congratulations. I had a similar tricycle when I was a kid. I much preferred them to bikes. and I felt very sorry when I outgrew it and my legs wouldn't fit the thing properly the other way. It was very similar to yours. Would have been back about 1959. VK3 FTZD to hand round VK3AML.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't have one that looked anything like that, but I did have a trike at one stage. A little bit more modern. Now, Brendan didn't get a decode on that one. He's missing 13 segments. Unfortunately, he didn't get that one. Bit of a shame. But that's all right, that's all right. Okay, continue on. Oh, it's me. Back to me. That was quick. VK3 FTZD with an EASYPAL image. Now, this is just something I took while I was at work. As we were walking by, I spotted this and went, oh, that's a cool view. So I'll transmit this at the drop of the repeater. How rude of me, I forgot to ask, in that picture there that you sent Chris, VK3FMLD, how old were you in that?
This picture was taken roughly 65 years ago, so I would have been about 3. It was taken in the house the first house that my parents bought in Power Street in Baldwin, which was also the house that I started, was embryonic in my interest in radio, where I bought my first crystal set and started playing with antennas for the crystal set. So, yeah, that was quite a significant residence as far as I was concerned.
Oh, there you go. That's very, very young. And, yes, I know a few places like that. I think Mum's house is where I first learnt about building antennas and what a wavelength was and all that sort of stuff. So I'll always, even if Mum moves out of there, I'll always remember that place as being where I started with CB and making my own antennas for that. Okay, we'll start with Terry, VK3FTJS. How did you go decoding my image?
Yeah, 14 dB, not a problem. Yeah. Well, that's underneath CityLink, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. The Tulla Freeway, I think they call that one still. But yeah, CityLink. I thought that was a really cool image. They had wall down one side and the freeway above, and the clouds in the blue sky. So yeah, VK3BOT. How did you go with that one?
Well, actually, I'm very glad I got it. It's a good picture, actually. I rather like that one. 11 dB over here. Yeah, very good picture indeed. VK3BOT said that.
VK3AML,
Chris, how did you go receiving my image?
Just perfect. 21 dB, no problem. Talk about a no man's land. A lot of unused land there. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, it's a bit like that there. VK3FMLD, how did you go with that one?
VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD. Unfortunately, I only got 47 segments. It wasn't enough to decode. It was at 3 dB, so missing 27 segments. So I'll pick it up off off Chris's online feed and see where we go from there. VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD, and I'm just going to step out of the room to get myself some iced water.
Okay, no worries. And Brendan got that one, VK3WWB, got that at 13 dB on his end. So very nice. Yes, we're up to Terry, VK3FTJS, for an image when you're ready to send. VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD, 18 dB, that is actually impressive. VK3BOT, how did you go, Stan?
Yeah, 17 dB here, and what the caption says, I think says it all. No more needs to be said. Yeah, back to you, VK3BOT.
VK3AML, VK3FTZD, how did you go with that one?
I don't know what it is about this pic, but something tells me it was taken in India, where the road rules and the regulations on roadworthies aren't quite so stringent. I got it at 24 dB, like I got all of Terry's transmissions. He's obviously got it set up just about perfect, Terry. Congrats. I like the image. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yep, he's got it spot on. I wouldn't be touching anything. Don't even let the wind touch it. VK3FMLD, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, there's lots of different pictures about vehicles being loaded to the hill and motorcycles from, as someone said, from India. 15 dB here. Very consistent. Very, very consistent, Terry. I think the first one was 18, the others have been 15, so nice solid signal. VK3 FTZD, VK3 FMLD.
Very nice. And VK3WWB, Brendan got that at 15 dB. So very nice signal there, Terry. Yeah, I wouldn't be complaining with that at all. Does that have any more caption to it, or whatnot?
No, I just thought it was a perler. I've seen it that many times, and, you know, like train stacked with people, and, yeah, I can see where Chris is coming from.
That's it. VK3BOT, Stan, you're up for an image when you're ready.
Righto, VK3BOT at the drop of the repeater. Make a horrible noise, 'cause he can.
VK3BOT, VK3FTZD. I've got 10 remaining segments, and I just see what looks like maybe a kaleidoscope image here with some black spots like ink patterns. Yeah, not even a decode. Brendan's got the same thing as well. 17 dB for Brendan, but yeah, we just didn't get a decode. There was a pause in the image or in the transfer, as well as the repeater ident hit you. I don't know if anybody else has that issue. Did anybody get a decode on that one? This is VK3FTZD with the EasyPal net.
Negative.
He got clobbered by the repeater ident early on, and then there was a drop in the carrier about 2/3 of the way through, complete blank. I've got 85 OK segments of 93 total, so I'm not far off, 8 segments off. I think transmit again, maybe. Do you agree, Tim? VK3AML.
Yeah, I would say so. VK3BOT standard. Do you want to resend that one?
Well, considering the fact that I got a train wreck, go around the group and I'll send that picture again at the next, when it comes around my turn, because the program decided to chuck a hissy fit. Yeah, so keep going round, and when it comes back next time, I'll go ahead and resend that same image. VK3FTZD, VK3BOT.
Was that an easy fit?
What was that?
EasyPal through an easy fit.
No, it had a hissy fit. Yeah, it probably did fall through a hissy fit. Yeah, quite correct. All right, back to you, Tim.
Yeah, no worries. VK3AML, you're up for an image when you're ready.
Okay, this is an odd one. The two people in the image are VK3ASE, Dave Stewart, and VK3SL, Steve Langley, with whom I do occasional hikes. And this hike was in the Warburton area, south of Warburton, between Warburton and Powelltown, up in the old timber getting area. And we're standing on a mountain. I wonder if anybody will guess what the mountain's made of. VK3AML with an EasyPal pick on the drop of the repeater. Okay, can anybody guess what the mountain's made of? And I'll hand it over to you, Tim. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD returning. That one I would not know, unfortunately. No, sorry. I got that at 16 dB though. Nice decode there. VK3FTJS, how did you go with that one?
22 dB, I reckon it's wood chips.
Close.
Wood chips or sawdust or something like that, or poo.
Well, the story is it's almost poo. The last sawmill to operate in this area closed in 1939. So this is a pile of sawdust accumulated over the period about 1889 to 1939, about 50 years. It is about 200 feet high, it's about 400 feet wide, and it feels incredibly spongy and bouncy underfoot. And what we were worried about, all of us, was that we were going to drop down into some woody chasm and disappear into quicksand. So we didn't stand there long. But yeah, you're right, it's sawdust. And we couldn't believe it ourselves until we started scratching the surface. VK3 FTJS to hand round, VK3AML.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't hang around either, mate. Yeah, it collapses in on you, you're gone. You disappear, mate. You wouldn't be seen again.
That's about it. Anyway, round to Stan.
Well, yeah, I sort of kind of picked that it was sawdust or something like that. I thought maybe wood chips. 17 dB here. This actually reminds me of something that I saw in Tasmania a couple of years ago now. Some people from a very well-known four-wheel drive magazine that no longer exists, although the program's still going. They went to some areas in Tasmania where they were not supposed to go, and one of those areas had a sawdust pit, and they got stuck in the pit. And I think it took them all day to extract the vehicle that was stuck in the pit. And it was a sawdust pit. Yes. And they would be stupid enough to try and do that in there. Yeah. Back to you, Tim, VK3, 17 dB. You're very consistent, actually, Chris. In fact, everybody's very consistent with their signals. They don't vary much. You can just about write down the same thing for everybody. Back to you, Tim, VK3FTZD. I'll put my teeth back in now, VK3VOT.
Yeah, no worries. VK3FMLD, how did you go, Chris?
I picked out a sawdust too. I've seen some similar, but not nearly as big piles of sawdust, and that's the sort of striations you get at it as it decomposes. Surprised that when it got wet, that it hasn't started to self-combust. Still, 9 dB full decode, and yeah, I think that's probably the best signal to noise ratio that I've had from Chris tonight. I think it was 3 and 5 before. VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD.
Yeah, too easy. I think you got 11 earlier on in the evening from Chris. But yeah, it's still a very, very good signal in the top ones. I haven't seen anything like this in the way of sawdust, but I have seen when I was, it would have been early teens or just before teens, we would go out wood cutting and stuff, and it was just after the log trucks had been through and got most of the plantation wood that left this massive pile of bark, and it was mountain size, and we got to play up in it and whatnot, and there were pockets that were almost self-combusting because of the heat, and it was wet as well. So that was a fun experience that I remember, a similar sort of thing to that. But yeah. Anyway, we'll continue it on. VK3 FMLD. You're up for an image when you're ready.
Goodness, my turn again. Dear country and quick when you're having fun. All right, at the drop of the repeater, I'll throw another one at you. This is the new technology they're going to use in the Air Force.
Yeah, VK3. I just got it. VK3FMLD, VK3FTZD. Yeah, okay. I got that at 19 dB here. Very nice. I think that's probably the best one I have received from you. 19... No, it's on par with the last one. There you go. Consistent. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving that one?
Yeah, 15 dB. Not bad. Yeah, all good, mate. Everything's come through.
Too easy. VK3BOT, how did you go with that one?
Yep, 11 dB down here. VK3BOT said that.
VK3AML, how did you go?
21 dB, Tim. And I've always noticed people in the Air Force have a good sense of humour. I'd say that the jet had been parked there and they've moved it away and realised they've got an imprint and can they do something with it. I've heard of stealth bombers, but that's ridiculous. VK3FTZD, 21 dB, VK3AML, no problem. Sorry, FMLD.
Good stuff. Yeah, okay, thanks, Chris. And thanks, everybody.
21 dB, very good, Chris.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, doing great numbers tonight there, Chris. Actually, everyone's doing really good numbers. From what I can see on the list here, everyone's doing some really good numbers into the repeater. It's excellent. VK3BOT, did you want to have another attempt at sending that one before I have my turn?
No. We'll just keep going round. And then when you've done your turn and it gets back to me, then we'll go then, Tim.
Okay, too easy. This is VK3FTZD, who is unprepared and did not organise the next image just yet. I've got it here. Whether or not it will actually transfer, I don't know, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, it actually reasonably well come up. All right, this is VK3FTZD with an EasyPal image at the drop of the repeater. VK3FTZD for the EasyPal net. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving my image?
It's very white. Very hard to read. Yeah, I'm not sure what the story. What's the story? I got it at 14 dB too, full decode.
Yeah, so one of the sites that I had to visit just recently, this week actually, had this sign sitting inside one of the rooms, and this sign is basically advertising when the setup of the new Mikey system, which is now getting on 10 years old now. So yeah, it's been sitting in there for that long and hasn't been upgraded or changed or anything. It's still sitting in there. VK3BOT, how did you go with that one?
Very good. 11 dB. And I'm not going to tell you what it means, but you may wish to go and find out what the word Mikey means. And you might need to get a box of tissues because you'll definitely cry laughing when you find out. 11 dB over here, VK3BOT said that.
I'll have to look it up. VK3AML, how did you go with that one?
Yeah, no problem. God, 10 years and they still are talking about Marquee in the future. I would assume this is from a non-manned station on that basis where they don't have constant surveillance. 20 dB, Tim. No problem from you at all. You at Craigieburn? Because you're doing very well from that location in spite of that hanging antenna. Back to you.
I'm a little bit further out than Craigieburn, so I'm probably closer to Donnybrook. I'm in Calcallo, which is right next to Donnybrook. I can see the Donnybrook station from the back fence of the house. So there you go. VK3FMLD. How did you go with that one?
Unfortunately, again, no good. It was dropping in and out of sync, so I only got 55 OK segments out of the 75, so I didn't get a decode on that. And I see the definition of the word Mikey. I won't say anything, but it's definitely worth looking it up. VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD.
I will have to check that out. So basically this sign says we're getting ready for Mikey. So at the time that this sign was first set up, they would have been initially rolling out the Mikey system to the train line. And yeah, you would have got this one. These signs are everywhere at all the stations that were getting upgrades at the time. But yeah, it's one of those old signs. There's a lot of sites out there that I gain access to for work, not necessarily rail-based, that have a lot of classic old signs from right up to the 90s and stuff that have not been changed or anything, which is pretty cool. Probably still in its location when it was first put up, and nobody's touched it since. The problem with accessing a lot of these sites is a lot of dust and stuff that's been generated over the years, and there's also a lot of asbestos in the panelling in the walls, so you don't know if any of that dust is asbestos dust or anything else you have to worry about. So we try not to go into them unless we absolutely have to, of course. Okay, that's enough of that one. VK3FTJS, you're up for an image when you're ready. VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD. I got that at 17 dB. VK3BOT, how did you go receiving Terry's image? And this is certainly true, this one.
17 dB at VK3BOT, and I'm rapidly getting to that stage of life.
It must be a parent thing, because I got that from my parents, and I still do still do it to this day if I have to reverse or driving somewhere where I require concentration. I'll turn the stereo down. I don't know why. VK3AML, how did you go?
23 dB. My late best friend's son was in his late teens, early 20s in the 90s, late 90s, and it used to be a rite of passage, a sort of a badge of adolescence in the late 90s to get an infringement notice for the doof machine in your car. And he had a doof machine that was so loud and so powerful he had to run a generator when it was running at maximum power. And he told me that he managed to actually unlatch the boot and have it pop up with the sound. Wouldn't have liked to have been near it. He's now a doctor, by the way, 20 years later. VK3FTZD, they all become conservative. VK3AML.
He wouldn't be an audiologist, would he?
No, just a GP.
That would have been funny, but no, that's cool. VK3 FMLD, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
Yeah, no problems. No problems at all. 14 dB and full decode. Yeah, my son-in-law has a car that he built to do audio competitions with monstrous subwoofers in it, and huge racks, well, almost racks, but huge numbers of storage batteries in parallel to provide the current for the system. But most of it was just bursts of low frequency audio, sort of 75, 50 hertz, perhaps even lower, and they were getting 190 to 200 dB, which is a horrible amount of noise out of this thing. But the car didn't have an engine in it or anything. It was just built specifically as a rolling chassis with the stereo system in it. The amount of money that was in it is amazing. VK3 FTZ. Oh, and it used to pop windscreens. VK3 FTZD, VK3 FMLD.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that sort of stuff still happens. Myself, I haven't done any competition stuff, but I used to pride myself on how well I could tune my stereo, and my mate and I, we would essentially go out and buy expensive stereo parts and tune them each and have the best sound, and then figure out that, oh no, I'm better at getting the higher notes than he is, and he's better at getting the low notes than I am. So we both did both stereos and worked out that we could get best of both worlds. But no, that's cool. And VK3 WWB got that one at 15 dB as well. So very nice. Very consistent throughout still. Stan, you're up for an image when you're ready. VK3 BOT, VK3 FTZD.
Righto, well hopefully we won't get gazumped this time. I've dropped it back to mode A, and we'll see how we go. Hopefully it'll go through. VK3 BOT at the top of the repeater.
Yeah, VK3 BOT, VK3 FTZD. Well, I got, oh, there it is. It just took its time.
Okay, so that's 17 dB, and it's a box and a microphone and something wrapped up in a towel and a power lead. Cool. 17 dB here. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving that one?
16 dB, yeah, full decode. Yeah. Interesting photo, actually. Wonder what's under the box.
Brendan, VK3WWP got, where was it, 17 dB, 16 dB, but 17 remaining segments. He didn't get a decode on that one. VK3AML, how did you go with that one?
19 dB, fully decoded. I gather this is a transmitter carriage box or a transceiver carriage box or something to protect it in transit. What has me intrigued, the top left-hand corner, there's what looks like a saucepan with a very funny shaped lid on it behind the box. Top left of the picture. Or it could be part of a motor or an engine or something. Or a saucepan with a strange lid. Anyway, curious. VK3FTZD to hand round VK3AML.
Or vacuum cleaner, maybe. VK3FMLD, Chris, how did you go receiving that one?
9 dB. I thought it was a presentation box for a microphone initially. Yeah, I agree with Chris that it looks like a box with a radio and power lead and a microphone sitting on top of the towel for protection. I agree. All good, thank you.
Did you have... did you want to explain this one there, Stan? VK3BOT, VK3FTZD?
Well, after I picked myself up off the floor, what's under the box is actually the bench that I built the box on. That'll do for starters. The saucepan in the top left corner is not a saucepan. There you know why I had to pick myself up off the floor. It's actually an old Dyson vacuum cleaner that it's about, I don't know. I think we got it long after we moved in this house and we've been here for 9 years. They were correct about the box. It is it's a box for transporting the radio. The radio is an ICOM 735. I don't know how old that radio is. It's very old. I got it about 1996 and it was second-hand when I got it. And yes, the microphone belongs with the radio, as does the power lead. What you don't see in the box is an ATU, which now fits in that box as well, plus some other bits and pieces that are required. It is my mobile setup when I go bush. So when I head out the scrub and I camp, I set the radio up and everything else, and I have about 3 vertical antennas I think I use. One dedicated 40, one dedicated 20, and then there is the Frankston Radio Group's multi-bander that I use as well. So that's the story. VK3BOT said that lot.
Oh, very nice there, Stan. Can't complain there. It's a very nice looking box, actually. Did you make the box yourself?
Yes, I did. Yes, it actually it sits in the trailer. I have a trailer that I go away bush with, and this and some other radio equipment sits in a bigger box. So this is dedicated. That box is dedicated purely for that radio and the stuff that's associated with it. And then there are some other equipment in that same in the bigger boxes. This little box is sitting here. This sits in a drawer, a slide-out drawer. And there's other equipment that goes in there as well, and that's what I use. That sits in the trailer all the time. All I've got to do is hook the car up and take off.
Ah, awesome. I need an excuse to build a portable setup. We don't really go camping or anything, so I can't use that as an excuse to have a portable setup. No worries. Excellent picture, and that came through really clear as well. I'm surprised how clear that came up. VK3AML, you're up for an image when you're ready, VK3FTZD.
Okay, VK3FTZD, VK3AML. Last week I transmitted a picture of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania's rooms, which were built in 1913 for the original ship-to-shore long-wave radio telegraph station built in Hobart. This is a photograph that I took off a photograph on their wall which shows the erection of the original wooden mast, which was 180 feet high and weighed 18 tonnes. So getting it up, if you'll pardon the expression, was a big job. Stop laughing, Chris. VK3AML with an EasyPal pick at the drop of the repeater. Filthy boy.
Agra helps.
Yours, Tim?
VK3AML, VK3FTZD, 17 dB here. Now that is one erection and a half. That's huge. VK3FTJS, how did you go with that one?
Yeah, 20 dB, yeah. Yeah, interesting concept. But using one pole will pull the other pole and all that. Yeah. Interesting concept that they didn't just put it up with a crane bit by bit.
I don't think cranes actually existed at that stage.
I think I'd want to be anywhere near it.
After about 15 years, they started to rot and became incredibly dangerous, which is why most of them came down or fell down. Anyway, hand it round, Tim.
Yeah, no worries. VK3BOT, how did you go with that one, Stan?
Well, I'm wondering whether you call it a power driver or a pole driver. VK3BOT 16 dB. Very good indeed.
Excellent. VK3FMLD, how did you go?
7 dB full decode. Very interesting the way they used to do things. Very, very interesting. But yes, I can see after 15 or 20 years that would become a very, very dangerous thing to be anywhere near. VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD.
Yes, it wouldn't be a very good thing to be near. VK3WWB, got that one at 15 dB. Nicely done there, Brendan. VK3FMLD, you're up for an image when you're ready.
So here it comes. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, VK3FMLD, VK3FTZD. I got that at 19 dB. VK3FTJS, how did you go receiving Chris's quality picture?
Yeah, 14 dB, yeah, I like it.
BOT. I was about to put an F in front of your call sign there, Stan. That wouldn't be a good one to do. Stan, how did you go?
This is another one of those images that you leave well alone. VK 11 dB at VK3 BOT file OK.
Chris, VK3AML, how did you go receiving that one?
21 dB. And tomorrow, when I want to get it up on YouTube, I think I know where to go. Back to you.
Just the top line on the board on the top of the back of it says blown ahead gasket.
Oh, that's a funny one. I gotta like that. Brendan got that at 18 dB. VK3WWB got that at 18 dB. So where did you find this quality picture there, Chris?
Very good question. I don't know. I've got no idea where that came from. Probably either in an email that somebody sent me of jokes or with jokes and funny pictures, or off the interweb somewhere. But I really, most of these pictures I've picked up over the years and thought, oh, that's a good one to keep for a laugh. And coming back and having a good look at them now, I'm really enjoying them.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I might actually save that one. Save image. Yeah, that'll do. Save it to my downloads folder. Okay, now I haven't prepped again, of course. Yes. Perfect image. Copy. Paste. Okay, so this is VK3FTZD with an EasyPal image at the drop of the repeater. This image is all the damage that has been caused by this radio itself. I'm lucky that I had it in the metal cage, and that's what's saved it from being damaged too far. This is VK3FTZD with an EasyPal image at the drop of the repeater. VK3 FTJS, how did you go receiving that one?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it looked like you passed the drop test, didn't you? Yeah, not a good look on cosmetics, but yeah, held together pretty stable. Should be able to get you one of them interface fronts for another cover anyhow, so it'll probably clean up quite nice with a few bits of spare pieces or whatever. Yeah, not bad. 14 dB, full decode.
Yeah, too easy. I've got a spare set of plastics here, so I'm not that worried. The spare set of plastics that I've got doesn't have the DB9 connector that's on there either. So I think that was for an expansion board of some type. So when I swap it out, it'll not have that on there, because I pulled all the expansion boards out of this radio because I didn't use them. VK3BOT, how did you go receiving that last image?
Yeah, I don't know what happens, but every so once in a while my program says I don't like you very much, and this is the occasion when it said I don't like you very much, and we got 5 segments and nothing more. And the funny part about it was that I knew almost straight away that it was going to do it. So I shall have to see that image later on. There's no point in retransmitting it because it won't get it. We've tried that before. I can try rebooting the program, but I'm not going to at this late hour because it is now almost 10 to 11. VK3FTZD, we'll wait. VK3BOT.
Yeah, no worries. Chris, VK3AML, how did you go receiving this one?
21 dB. Is there any internal damage to boards? Have you tried powering it up just to see that the receiver still goes? Back to you.
Well, I'm using it right now, so it seems to be working.
A car ran over it and you're using it now?
Yeah, I checked the receive, I checked that the output power was still spot on, I checked the frequency output was spot on, and I went, okay, cool, I'm going to use it. It doesn't seem to have caused any major issues. No loose connector on the RF side, so I'm not going to complain.
Bloody hell. Which brand is this?
So this is the Simico, the SRM 9000. So essentially the next step up from the PRM 80s, the Philips PRM 80s. They started going over to the Simico PRM 80s, and then this is the next generation up from those ones.
I think you should take that photo, email Simico, and say use it for advertising, and they might send you a nice antenna tuner or something.
I don't like my chances. These boards, or these radios are P25 digital compatible, or the revision 9 and revision 10 models of these, which this is a revision 9. But getting a hold of the board to enable it and getting a hold of the software is next to impossible, because Simico will jump up and down and go, you are not government, you do not get, and I'm guessing they are very much like that with a lot of their stuff. So I'd be lucky if I could get anything from them. but hey, at least this thing's built really well.
Yeah, true. Anyway, you better hand it round.
Yes. VK3FMLD, how did you go receiving that one?
Yeah, the bad news are the bad news. Bad news is it didn't decode, and the really bad news is I only got 41 of the 75 segments. I'm just looking up the SRM 9000 there, a nice looking, solid looking radio. P25 cap compliant, 40 zones, 1500 channel pool, voting, truck, scanning, amazing VK3 FTZD, VK3 FMLD.
Yeah, they are a really nice radio. I'll probably only use this for a quarter of what it really needs to be, or what it can do. But it's a good radio. It does what it needs to do. The output power, when you specify it in the settings, it is spot on. So if you want 1 watt, it'll put out 1 watt. If you want 10 watts, it'll put hard on 10 watts. It'll go up to 25 watt output on these things, and this thing at 10 watts is just getting warm for the night's net. So good radio. But if you look them up on eBay, they're expensive. I've been really lucky and got some really cheap, but if you look them up, they're expensive radios because they're commercial and they're a really high quality. But I'm babbling. Let's see, VK3WWB, he got that one at 13 dB. So I think tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week, I might up the power output on those ones, or not the power output, the volume on those transmissions, see if I can get a bit more out of it, because Chris FMLD is struggling to receive my images, and WWB seems to have low signal. I might just have a low volume setting on it or something maybe. Anyway, VK3FTJS, you're ready for an image when you get a chance.
VK3FTJS, VK3FTZD. Yes, I certainly have seen that just today alone. 19 dB on that one there, Terry. Where's my spreadsheet go to? I accidentally minimised it. VK3BOT, how did you go receiving Terry's image?
Well, actually, I thought a lot of people got theirs out of a Wheatie box, and I think I've had it wrong all this time. It was actually out of cornflakes instead. 16 dB VK3BOT, file OK.
VK3AML, how did you go?
24 dB. Yes, I'll pay that. Back to you.
VK3FMLD.
17 dB, and I think the picture says it all.
That's it. What did I say I got that at? 19 dB. And VK3WWB got that at 16 dB. Very, very nice. Yes, certainly question where some people get their licenses from, whether it be a Wheaties box or cornflakes. VK3BOT, you're up for an image when you're ready.
Righto, without further ado, VK3BOT.
VK3BOT, VK3FTZD. I don't know what it is, but your images just take that extra couple of seconds before it finally fully gets the full resolution of the photo and full decode of it. Yes, camel wash. 18 dB here. VK3FTJS, how did you go?
Yeah, 16 dB full decode. Yeah, camel washing, eh? I'll have to remember, Stan, to bring the camel around. You can take it through a wash for me.
VK3AML, how did you go?
19 dB, fairly consistent from Stan. Except the country where the camels is hardly as green as that. VK3FTJS, VK3AML and group, all the best.
VK3FMLD, how did you go receiving that one?
Just see the scouts out there cleaning down camels to raise funds to go to the next jamboree. 7 dB, VK3FTZD, VK3FMLD.
Yeah, awesome as. And I haven't got one from Brendan yet. Too easy. Did we want to have one more image? Chris, I think it's up to you there, AML. Otherwise, I'll do the announcement. Oh, there's Brendan's photo now. That came through at 17 dB for VK3WWB. Chris, did you want to have one more image, or do you want to close up the net?
dB, that's the go.
16 dB at 17 dB at VK3BOT.
17 dB at VK3FTZD.
dB at VK3FMLD. And that looks like a nice cap.
That was at the end of the last QRP by the Bay at Chelsea. Peter always shepherds us to a local Peruvian restaurant which has Central American design tablecloth and coffee. But that was such a nice cup of coffee, I couldn't resist photographing it. VK3, all the best to you. I'm sure we'll meet again next Thursday, and if anybody has any suggestions to what I should include in the lecture for the EMDRC in August, please let me know. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Maybe some pictures of everybody set up, Chris. VK3FTJS.
Certainly do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like how interface into a radio, even just for receive, or for receive and transmit. Yeah, that's a good idea, and the multiple different options that are available out there. So that's excellent. And yeah, photos of your setup, my setup, Terry's setup, Stan's setup, all that sort of stuff. FMLD's setup, because he's got a very well running setup now. I think everyone does now. I'm looking at the numbers from tonight's net, and it's looking very consistent throughout. It's very, very nice. A couple of times it didn't decode. A couple of my ones, probably because my level might be a bit low, on the side of caution for distortion. I might have gone the wrong way a little bit too far, but that's all right. That's why we experiment. If everyone's okay, I might close up the net now and call it a night, because it is just after 11 o'clock. Are we okay with that?
Okay here.
Oi.
Yeah, no worries. For anybody listening, you have been listening to the EasyPal net for Thursday, the 18th of June 2020. My name is Tim. I am VK3FTZD. I've been tonight's host for the EasyPal net. The EasyPal net is a net where we get together and transmit images, files, text, moving images, that sort of stuff using the EasyPal digital slow scan imaging software. The software is a free download, available anywhere on the net. Just Google search it. It was developed by, I'm struggling to remember this now, a gentleman from VK4, who is sadly no longer with us, but he's left behind this wonderful piece of software for us to use. This software works both VHF, UHF and HF, with the multiple amounts of error correction and redundancies built into the algorithm used. It makes a really good method for transmitting images or digital images via HF and multipath. The EasyPal net, we meet on the VK3AML repeater every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. The repeater's frequency is 146.700 with a negative 600 kilohertz offset and a 91.5 hertz tone to access it. Thank you very much for everyone tuning into the net tonight. We've had a whopping 22 images transmitted tonight, and we've had 5 participants for transmitting and 1 extra for receiving. Thank you very much everyone for checking in. A special thank you to VK3FTJS, VK3BOT, VK3AML, VK3FMLD, VK3FTZD and VK3WWB. And also a special thank you to everyone listening on the side. This is VK3FTZD closing the EasyPal net and returning the repeater back to its normal use. 73s everyone, enjoy your evening and the rest of the week.
Evening all, 73s from VK3FTJS, and thanks for running that, Tim.
Evening everybody from VK3BOT. See you all next week.
Cheers fellas, thanks for a nice time again. Next week for sure, VK3AML.
Guys. Thanks, Tim, for running it. Thanks, Chris, for recording it. VK3FMLD, and I'm turning my radio off. Good night, everyone.